Hey guys, how you guys doing? I hope you guys are all doing well. My name is Kinzani if it is your first time here, and welcome to my channel. What's good? What's popping? Hope you guys are all doing absolutely amazing. Today's video, I wanted to sit down and do a live update Q&A. I asked you guys to ask me questions on Instagram and I answered a few of them on Instagram, but I decided let me just sit down and film a video for you guys because I've been gone and you guys have been harassing me to come back onto YouTube. So that's what we have today. Before we get right into this video, please don't forget to give this video a big massive thumbs up, comment down below, subscribe to my channel, and let's get right into the video. Let's get right into it. So first question we have is how am I? And I love when you guys ask me how am I, but at the same time I don't really know how to answer how am I. But I'm good. I'm a happy girl. God has been good, God is faithful, and what more can you be other than joyful if because of the God that you serve, you know? So I'm a good, happy little Simba chippy. Next question we have is tell us everything. What were you up to while you were away? As you guys know, what was meant to be just 1 month off turned to 8 months off of social media across the whole board. And what was I doing? I was being pruned, crushed by God. I was in a preparation season. I think by now everyone's seen my LOBOLA negotiations vlog. That was a whole thing, just prepping for the new season obviously, and just getting my mindset ready, I guess, for engagement, getting my mindset ready for marriage, get like all of that stuff. So that has been something that I feel like God needed to do that outside of me being all hey on social media, and God really needed to just do a deep work in me, intentionally so that's what I was doing. Moving as well, if you guys can see my background's different. We moved, school was just a whole lot. Still, yeah, I was just busy being me. One of the things I've learned in my time off is not everything is content, you know, like you don't need to share every single thing in real time. Especially I find comfort in like going through a process, then sharing what I learned or anything like that afterwards, you know, like I'm that type of person. So if anything, I was just with God and just learning from God like really just changing my character in a way that he could mold me, I guess, to be a wife, which still have not clicked in that I'm going to be someone's whole entire wife, but I guess that's what I was doing. I have a lot of questions about the LOBOLA negotiations and all of that stuff. A lot of you guys actually, funny enough, assumed that I was married. I'm not married yet. We are engaged. We are fiancés. And I think a couple of questions I did see was how was the proposal, how'd the proposal go? He has not proposed yet. That is something that is going to be coming up soon. Obviously now it's kind of like what's really the point of a proposal, because I've already said yes, our families have already come together and all of that stuff. But I think that it was such a beautiful thing to have our families come together first, like collectively, and then we can have our individual cute little moment of oh my gosh, we're getting married you know, and the whole ring and all of that stuff. But I really think it's beautiful that our families, that happened first before the proposal, which is funny because I actually wanted the proposal to be first before the negotiations, but God kind of worked it out in this way, and I'm so thankful he did work it out in this way because I think it was beautiful. Next question we have is how did I break the news to Bob the Builder? If you guys are new here, I call my mom Bob the Builder. I just told her. I told my mom when I had a crush on my partner. I told her when I found out he had a crush on me back and the start of us dating and all of these things. Like my mom knew every single part of our relationship. She literally is the one person who's like in it, you know. So just telling her was just honestly very simple. She knew that was where we're heading. She knew that we were doing prep work for it and being very intentional about preparing for the season. And yeah, so I just let her know. I probably woke my mom up in the middle of the night all excited, like oh my gosh, I can't believe, because that's typically what I do with my mom. I wake her up at like 1 a.m 2 a.m to tell her oh my gosh, this happened, that happened. I remember like when I maybe not spoil all the tea, but yeah, that's how I told my mom. Next question we have is how long was our relationship before taking the big step? We were together for a year and a couple of months. I think it's 20 months in totality, a few months away from 2 years. Next question we have is how do you navigate being in a relationship in a Christian way? Be intentional about being corrected and pruned and crushed by God. Involve family, involve godly counsel, involve Jesus right in the center of it, and learn how to communicate well, learn how to be intentional, set up boundaries. Next question we have is, how did God confirm he was the one? And then I got another question of like, how did we meet? I wanted to put this part in here to say that like, we'll share this eventually, how I knew he was the one for me, which is such a crazy funny story, how we met as well. I don't want to share how we met without him right here next to me, so I'm not gonna really share that right now, but it's a very cool, beautiful story, and our hope obviously when the time is right that we share the stories, that it glorifies God and gives him all the glory. Next question is, why did you decide to stay offline for longer than 1 month than you intentionally intended? Kind of like what I said kind of in the question of like, what was I busy doing? I'm very intentional about hearing from the Lord, and I think I said that in my April reflection. I was like, I started to get very distracted with my Jesus time, started to get distracted with social media, started to get very distracted, and I wasn't really being intentional, and I needed time to be intentional, and that just became a further, I want to be even more intentional and just really just sit at the feet of Jesus and process a whole lot of these things with him. So yeah, I don't know, I think it was needed for me to take this time off. It was needed. I don't regret it at all. If anything, I could take another couple of years off social media, because I learned that social media isn't real life, you know, and real life needs to be lived. Not everything is content, not everything needs to be out on social media, and life needs to be lived outside of social media. And that's what I was doing. I was living. So I just wanted to be more intentional with my walk with the Lord, and I wasn't expecting that, but then there's a whole bunch of things that just kept piling up, and I'm one now to be like, if I don't have the capacity for something, I'm not going to force it. So with everything that was going on at that moment, I was like, I just need time off of social media, and that's exactly what I did, and I'm so thankful I did that. Another question is, how does it feel? Were you expecting marriage this soon? Yes. I think I've always said this in all of my singleness videos, that if you inquire of the Lord, he'll tell you exactly what phase of singleness you're in, or what stage of life you're in, what season of life you're in. If you really inquire of the Lord, and if you're intentional with inquiring in the sense of, God, let your will be done. So to some extent, I feel like I definitely did know. I was always the type of person that always wanted to get married very young. I'm currently 25, turning 26 this year, and I don't know, in my head I wanted to get married when I was 21. So for me, getting married quote unquote young is not something that I was, you know, did I expect it to happen this soon? Yes. Again, we're very intentional with our dating period. Like, how long are we going to date for? Like, what is the max amount of time that we're going to spend dating before we head towards marriage? And that's exactly how it worked out. So yeah, we're definitely ready. We made sure we were ready. Something that we did do that I want to do a video on this is, after our 1-year anniversary, we started pre-engagement counseling, which we did for I think 4 or 5 months, if I'm not mistaken, with a licensed therapist, and we just went through that, and we did pre-engagement counseling so that we could assess, are we actually ready for this new season? I'm someone, I like preparedness. I'm not going to just step into something willy-nilly. That's not just how I roll. So that's what we did, and after doing that intentionally for months, that's how we knew, okay, we can take this step. Our parents knew, and that's how our parents then decided that, okay, let's step into doing negotiations, and let's step into this, because they've shown us their readiness, they've shown us their intentionality, they've shown us that they're not wasting each other's time. So let's, as a family, make this happen, I guess. We want to do a more in-depth video about being in a pre-engaged season, because that's what last year really was for me, is being in a pre-engaged season and just preparing well for the next season, being engaged and eventually getting married. Next question we have is, what have you learned from this new season so far? I just arrived, so in terms of being engaged, I just arrived. Don't really know much. It hasn't even been a month since my negotiation, so I just arrived. But from a pre-engaged season, there's so much I could say, and I think I kind of shared that in my LOBOLA negotiations vlog. At the end, I shared a lot about what that season was like, being in a pre-engaged season, a prep season, and all the things that the Lord taught me. On top of that, another thing the video that came out before this one about my 23 lessons I learned in 2023, that also was a bunch of lessons that I learned as well. So I would say check that video out. Next question is, what advice would you give to your single self about being in a relationship? All my singleness videos are literally all the advice, all the things that I learned. It's all my singleness videos. Like I never hid all the things that the Lord was teaching me in singleness. I quite honestly put it all out there for you guys, and I was very open. So everything that I have shared about singleness is everything that prepared me well for this season of being, I guess, in a dating relationship and being in a serious relationship leading towards marriage, and now being engaged leading towards marriage. I think everything I learned in singleness really prepped me for that. I don't want to make this video too long and like share everything when I've extensively done videos on that, but definitely my singleness videos. I'll leave a playlist down below of all my singleness playlist of all the videos I've done on singleness, because it's really cool looking back on those videos now, because I think the first video I ever did on singleness, I was like 1 year fresh. Like I just was single for like a year, and then 2 years, then 3 years, then 4 years, and it's really cool to see that progression, because if you guys didn't know, I was single for 4 years before I got into a relationship. And yeah, so I learned so much. Next question we have is, how did dating again change your relationship with God, if at all? It forced me to depend on him, because there's this narrative where people think that their relationships are meant to fulfill them and make them happy and satisfy them, when that isn't the case. If you look for love, validation, hope, everything horizontally, it will never fulfill you. The only place you can find all of those things is vertically. And I think it forced me in a beautiful way to press into God, because one of the biggest things was remembering that, oh my gosh, marriage is on the horizon for me, beautiful, exciting, great, but it's not my end all be all. Jesus is my end all be all. Jesus is my treasure. Jesus is everything I will ever need, and he's enough. So I needed to lean into that, and it was just a beautiful thing of realizing that I love this person and I'm so thankful for this person God has blessed me with, but Jesus is everything to me, and he's my end all be all, and in Jesus I have everything I will ever need. If Jesus is all I have everything I need, literally. So that's what it taught me, is to lean into God more, because I feel like it lessened the expectation of you need to be everything for me, because you can't, you're not God, and vice versa. So I think it just helped us navigate, knowing that if we ever lean into each other expecting each other to be our everything, it's gonna fail, and we need Jesus. So it really just helped us deepen our relationships with God even more. The next question we have is, what's your favorite thing about your love story? Is that Jesus is literally all over. It's saturated with Jesus. It gives God glory. It magnifies Jesus. Next question we have is, what were some of the things you struggled with during courtship and how did you overcome them? I can only speak for myself, because obviously he isn't here to speak for himself, but the thing that I personally struggled a lot with was anxiety, relationship anxiety, and relationship triggers and relationship fears. Times when I'm really anxious, when I'm really overwhelmed, when I'm really triggered, or whatever the case might be. In those instances, communicating that, being vulnerable, and basically relationship anxiety. I feel like maybe I'll unpack it more as time goes by, but that's the thing that I personally struggled with the most, because I think if you're used to dysfunction, or you're used to, I guess, relationships not working, or you've never really seen a good example of relationships working out or longevity in relationships, like, it's understandable why you'd be very fearful. So I dealt with a lot of that. Next question is, what were some of your boundaries? I'm not going to share what our boundaries were, because I think it could lead to legalism in terms of, oh, so they did this, so I need to do it like that. You need to ask yourself, how can I glorify God the most? How can I remain pure in this relationship? How can we ensure purity in our relationship in a way that truly glorifies the Lord? It's not about how close you get from the line, and that isn't even a question you really should be asking. It's, how can I be in this relationship and do it in such a way that glorifies the Lord? That is different for every single person, and I'm not going to share what our boundaries specifically were, because I think that it's different for every single relationship. But I think the one thing that God did for us that was actually very helpful, that helped us with boundaries, is distance. We are in a mid-distance relationship. It's not long distance, but it is mid-distance. That really helps us to be very intentional with our time, with our relationship, and not doing things that are just gonna mess our relationship up. We're very intentional throughout. We spoke about boundaries before we even became a couple. Like we spoke about things. I think one of the biggest things I would say is communicate, but also as an individual, know what your boundaries are, know what you can handle, know what your triggers are, know what makes you fall into temptation, what gets you riled up, what gets your hormones excited. Know those things and set boundaries. Next question we have is, how do you navigate being in a relationship while celibate? Boundaries, parameters, distance, but also, like I'm saying, if you want to be in a relationship that glorifies the Lord, you'll pursue purity wholeheartedly, both parties, and you'll communicate about these things, you'll be intentional about these things. Maybe at some point I will share more on this, but for right now, that's that's my answer. Next question we have is, do you think getting married goes with age, or when is the right time to get married? If you are someone who is led by God and you allow God to ordain your footsteps and you allow God to lead you, you will know that. But do I think it's a matter of age? No, I do think it needs to be two spiritually maturing people coming together who are teachable and have the means to get married, then yes. But I don't think it's about age. Next question is it normal to not desire marriage or romantic relationship? Yes. There's some people that are not called to marriage that have the gift of singleness, and there are people who have the gift of marriage. Paul says that he wishes that everyone were like him who had the gift of singleness, because when you have the gift of marriage, or you're called to marriage, or you desire marriage, you worry about the things of life. You worried about more of that, which takes up some of your time when it comes to your devotion, of complete devotion towards the Lord. Not to say that the Lord cannot use marriage for his glory and devotion towards him and all that he can, but there's something about being single and just doing the will of God is different. That is completely normal as well. Don't feel bad if you feel like you don't desire it. Just live a whole devoted life towards Jesus. Like, it's actually bomb. Next question is, are you going to share the content of how courting was like for you? Yes, we would love to share that. Next question we have is, what are some of the things you and your boyfriend, he's not my boyfriend, he's my fiancé, he's my husband to be. What are some of the things that we did to make sure that we grow together spiritually? In the very beginning of our relationship, we focused on your relationship with God is your own, my relationship with God is my own. Be intentional with your relationship with God. I'm going to be intentional with my relationship with God. We never really had Jesus time together. We never really had that togetherness, because I really feel like that's intimate. Your Jesus time is intimate. Like, you don't want to then depend on someone else for you to have Jesus time. We didn't want that. We would talk about Jesus all the time, what we're learning, what the Lord is teaching us, but we chat about the Bible, all of these things, but like we never did it together. One of the things we do try to aim to do is make sure that like there's individuality with our relationships with God, and we don't merge them. We don't become so enmeshed or so codependent on one another when it comes to our relationship with Jesus. So having that separation is very important. Next question is, I admire how much you read faith-based books. Any easy book recommendations? I will tell you this, I will not give you easy book recommendations. I will give you the convicting ones, the hard ones, because those are the ones that truly lead to transformation. Easy, fluffy ones, I'm not the target market for that. And if you are looking for book recommendations, I have a bunch of videos on my channel about books that I highly recommend that we read. But do I have an easy one? I don't really think so, because I don't like books like that anyway. Even in my book club, they were only intentionally hard, convicting reads. I don't do the fluffy, I don't do that. Next question is, we knew you were hiding something. How did you confirm that Mr. Locks is the one? Again, I will share this video, but yes, I was hiding because I had something up my sleeve. I wouldn't just leave you guys just like that. What do you guys think I am? Why would I do that? No. Next question is, what is one advice you received about singleness which made the way bearable, because it gets a bit frustrating at times and we get tempted from guys who are not equally yoked with? Devotion with the Lord, discernment, wisdom. I've done videos on this, guys, but honestly, the root of it, if Jesus is all you have everything that you need. Don't entertain people that you are unequally yoked with that Tim too. I'm very intentional about how I spend my time. I'm a homebody and I'm very introverted, so for me to allow someone into my space, my personal space and all of that stuff, like you must have something good, otherwise I'm just like, nah, it's fine, like keep you at a distance. So I don't know, like I answered this on Instagram and I basically kind of said that if Jesus is all you have, you'll have everything that you need. If you have Jesus, you'll be intentional about having people in close proximity to you that will glorify him, that will magnify him, and you won't want to entertain things that will derail you from your faith. Next question we have is why is every question relationship related? When are you coming back for real and what should we expect? I don't know, hey, like I am trying to navigate what this new season of life is like, but am I going to be a whole relationship-y person? No. Am I going to be a couple content? No. If we do couple things, it's gonna be different. We're not gonna be an influencer couple or no. What should you expect from me? We'll see. I don't really know. Next question we have is, are you gonna share your wedding planning content? Are you going to share wedding planning with us and all of that stuff? And for now, the answer is yes, but that might change. Who knows? I don't know. But I would like to share the journey of getting married and all of that stuff. That's very exciting to me and I can't wait to share that with you guys. So yes, I will be sharing that. And lastly, why is your fiance the absolute bestest fiance in the world? He's the one that wrote this and he knows why. I'm not going to be a gone girl on camera. You guys saw the whole vlog and you guys saw how of a gone girl I am. We're not going to do that, but honestly, he really is the sweetest person. He has the most beautifulest heart I have ever come across and he is just so good to me. He's so good to me and I just love him so much. These are all the questions that I have. They were very relationship-y, but that's my life, honestly. Right now, it is engagement and finishing school is something very important to me, and being with family. I wanted to put this video up like a while ago, but after the negotiations, it was Christmas, and I wanted to spend my Christmas intentionally with my family without any distractions because it was my last Christmas with them. It was my last Christmas as Kinsani Rikotso, which is just crazy, and I just wanted to spend time with them. And then the new year started and I was just figuring out when is the right time to film. But anyway, this is the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to give this video a big massive thumbs up, comment down below, subscribe to my channel, and I will check you guys in my next video. Bye friends.